Hi, I'm Luke Chambers. I played for Ipswich Town between 2012 and 2021 for 9 years. I've just recently retired in August last year. It's been a very, very different transition between player and non-player. I'm now running 4 companies and my life's busier than it's ever been.
I am Danny Potter from Fleximize, Key Account Manager, and I'm joined by Luke Chambers, recent Ipswich Town captain. How many people started Harmonious Society?
3 friends, yeah. Emma Hughes, I played with here for 5-6 years. Never really done anything in the business world, so I think we've all learned along the way. We now work with another friend of ours, he lives in Swansea. He's created a really successful sort of brand down there in terms of coffee shops and events and stuff like that.
What was the inspiration behind your company name?
Harmonious Society, in my eyes, was always to create a community of like-minded people that are always on the path of like self-discovery and self-improvement. I think we probably did it back to front. We built the product, we built the brand, put everything in place, and we were lacking the community. But my main focus has always been bringing people together. That's how I lived my life since I was 12 years old. Hence I was captain of football clubs at 17, 18. From that experience, I've been able to use and draw on those sort of, like I say, experiences to bring people together, because I feel there's a massive need for community, for social interaction, and we've been proven right by what we've created in Suffolk currently. The Harmonious Society basically was born in 2020, just before COVID, when we had the riots everywhere, Black Lives Matter issues going on, and it just felt like a time where the planet was on fire, with people just separating from what we've always been used to, and that's family, friend, relationships, being present with each other. A real clear mind that we need to have, like I said before, social interaction and be better connected. And we've, like I say, built the product, we've now built the community, and they're both moving forward hand in hand, which for me is everything that I set out to do in 2020.
Yeah. Known you probably seen you from your Northampton days early on in your career, and like you said, the captain, you were very much known as anyone's going through issues off the pitch as well as on it. You'd be the one to wrap your arm around the shoulder, invite them in for dinner and making sure people aren't on their own. So when I then see that you created your new company, your brand, then seeing what you've done and witnessing that as well, seeing you going along Felixstowe Beach on a Sunday morning for a walk and seeing 70, 80 people having a run. And
it's been an organic process at the end of the day. We started 29th of November 2023 was our first one. And that was 3 months after I'd retired. I was at a stage where, I don't want to be that footballer that just retires and just goes and gets a job and gets out of shape. Mm-hmm. But I'd also battled with my relationship with running and exercise. Yeah. I did it because I was paid to do it. Yeah. And that was my driving factor to be the best that I could be. Mm-hmm. And that's the aspect that I've brought into this world. But I needed a reason to do it, because I said to myself around October time, you've had your 3 months, you've repaired your body from all the rigors of 20 years of professional sport. Now you need to get out and get fit. So Monday came. I'll do it tomorrow. Yeah. Tuesday came, do it tomorrow. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, well, what is going to get me out the door? Mm-hmm. And it was that responsibility of saying, I'm going to be somewhere, knowing that I'm there for a reason, because it's going to bring other people together. And we had 15 people on our first one, and it was 7 o'clock in the morning at Christchurch Park. It was -1. It was pitch black. Yeah. And we thought, that was rewarding. By 7:30, 7:35, you'd done a 5K run and
ready to go.
Went from there, and then we did it once a week. And then I made that was my responsibility. Well, I've said I'm going to be there. I've got to be there. Mm-hmm. That's my reason to get up.
When you're used to being told, this is where you've got to be, this is the time you're in, this is your daily routine, to then come away from that. And that's where a lot of players struggle. Yeah. When you come out and you think, what's my purpose? What am I doing now? Yeah. Now, what's my motivation?
I was trying to figure out a way to be ready for when that tap is turned off of being paid. That's it. Yeah. If that stops, you can have a few months of support from your savings, but the money I made from football is in the back of my mind now. It's gone. It's like it's not there. Yeah. Because that's my responsibility for my family. So it's like, right, you need to put in place if you finish tomorrow, there's a job that you can walk into and there's an income. But my credit for all these things has to go to my wife, because she sat me down, because I was clear I was going to be a manager, I was going to be a coach, I was going to work in football. But right then they didn't fit with my purpose and my values, because I saw so many things going on and the sacrifices that people have to make, like Kieran McKenna here, for example. He is driven because his career wasn't as long as mine.
Yeah.
And then he's like, right, that's my purpose. I'm going to work 12, 13, 14 hours a day and every weekend. And I wasn't quite prepared to make those sacrifices in my day-to-day, because I'd done that.
Yeah.
And I was so fortunate. Nothing was ever taken away from me in football. I played every game for 20 years. I was never injured. I was the most fortunate player in the world for that. But what we did sit down and do is, like, she was like, okay, what do you want then? And we did this exercise together, because she's like quite advanced in psychology. She's got a degree. And we were like, well, do you want to be your own boss? Do you want to have what purpose? What do you want to do it for? So we went through all these things, narrowed them down to 3 or 4. And it was like, okay, let's run with that.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen overnight. Like, the football stopped. I didn't have teammates. The phone stopped ringing. So it's like, okay, this is tough.
This is it.
Yeah. So, okay, we're making enough money in this area. I'm a property company that I had running for 3 or 4 years. But it was like, well, something's still missing. I don't want to just do this forever. And obviously the clothing brand we'd started, but that was hard work, because you're trying to get suppliers. You're visiting different countries for product. And then you think people are going to support you in that, and you're close friends, and it's great stuff. The orders don't quite come in as often as you want, but that's no one else's responsibility. That's ours, putting our expression out into the world. But it's like that transition and actually seeing, it's not easy. For me, as a footballer, if you've been able to stay in the game for 10 years, you've got unbelievable resilience. You've got transferable skills that I don't think lads take a step back and think what they can offer an employer. So the easiest route for them, right, stay in football, be a coach. Yeah. And there's so many people that I've spoke to over the last 5, 10 years that have transitioned, and they're now coaches, and they don't seem to have that buzz when they were a player. I know it's different, but are you happy? You're always the same answer. It's rubbish here.
You're always chasing.
This is shambles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not what I want.
You got to find
I don't want to, misery loves company. I don't want to be a part of that. I want to make myself happy from my own decisions. But what I'm doing now, I look forward to waking up every day, which is what I did when I was a footballer.
Are you finding, is that fulfilling you the same as what football did?
I think more
from
so.
Business, more,
Which is hard to say, because everyone looks at football and thinks, you're the luckiest people in the world. Like, the pressure that I now know that I was under since the age of 16 and before, that I was carrying, is like mind-blowing to me.
You appreciate them more when you retired though?
Yeah. I didn't even think about it. It's just life. You just get on with it. And for the last 4 or 5 years, which has probably pushed me away from football, is like, you win a game and it isn't enjoyment, it's relief. And I was really fortunate. I played the first 15, 16 years of my career, and we were chasing promotion, and we got promotions, and I was in successful sides. In the last 4 or 5 years, I wasn't, and I was still playing well, from my own opinion. But you can't affect the final outcome. So I was doing 10 months of the year, we'd finish 15th. And that would just be like, that was a waste of time. But obviously my standards were still high. I wanted to drive on and still succeed.
Setting up a new business, can you remember your first sale?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'd built up, and we'd, again, opened my eyes to the business world. We'd worked with some people that had said they're going to do X, Y, Z, basically did none of it. We were scrambling around for launching our website. 15 minutes before we were opening up to the world, nothing finished, not to the level it needed to be. And we opened up, we all had a glass of red wine ready, and we just saw, I think it was 2,000 people landed on the website. And we were like, what the hell? But then there was things on there that just, I don't really want to talk about, but it weren't the way it should have been. Landed on the website from all over the place, and you can see on the Shopify back end where they are in the country, in the world, and it was like, what the hell? And in the first 24 hours, 48 hours, we only opened the website for 48 hours because that was the model we tried to go with originally. And we made good money.
I couldn't get in.
Wow.
I couldn't get into the website.
Well,
I tried.
It might have been the problem with how it was set up. But these are things that you learn, and like we always laugh about the journey that we've had in our business and the mistakes we've made and the people we've worked with and how it's just, we could write a book on it.
What skills have you taken from the pitch to off it?
Consistency. If I say I'm going to be there, I try not to be late. I try and have good morals, good timekeeping, things that I feel valuable, manners, speak to people in the right way. Try never to react to something when you're emotional, unless I see a referee in front of me, and they sort of trigger me a little bit. Try and sit with things if immediately I want to react. I think that's what I learned a lot from football, because you're getting smashed left, right, and centre. A physical game, it's hard to control that. But just that real consistency, never really letting my guard down. Now I still eat and live the same way I did as a player. Football's allowed me to be the person that I'm supposed to be without trying to please anyone else. And when you play in front of 40,000 people every week, you're not going to please everyone.
Yeah, get that. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about being a business owner?
I see all these things on Instagram all the time. It's like being a business owner, people only see the end product, don't they? But they don't see you in the kitchen on fire with kids on the floor crying and food everywhere and the ceiling falling down, there's a leak, and you're just trying to do all this. And that's been real eye-opener. But at the end of the day, like when you own a business, you've got responsibilities outside of yourself. Yeah. Yes, you've got your ideal scenario where you can support your family. But if you've got 6, 7 employees, they've got to eat first and they've got to be paid first.
Yeah.
And there'll be times where I ain't had the money to sort myself out. So we'll fall back on what I've got, but they're getting looked after.
Brilliant, mate. Mentors? Anyone that you looked up to, or that you had a little bit of backing from, or that you could rely on from a business point of view?
Obviously, when I worked with Mick McCarthy, I thought his values and how he treated people, what he did, he always made his employees, his staff, his partners, his friends feel valued. Mm-hmm. I think there's so much in that, in a working world where everyone's just trying their best. If you have a disillusioned workforce or people that don't feel valued in the role they're doing, or maybe they're suited to a different role, see that and action it. In terms of the business world, Mark Calver, who's heavily involved with the club, he's built a really successful business in the property world, property maintenance world. He's been absolutely invaluable. And I'm looking for mentors every day.
Yeah.
Because if
you have enough?
I don't think you can ever have enough, no.
Is there any plan you've got in place where you'd like to be?
I think my end goal would be have a big facility where I can tie in private, community, social aspects, where we could do sports, we could do classes, we could do improvement, we could do learning, everything under one roof. Because I know there's funding out there, which is another world that I didn't even know existed. I'm trying to always self-fund. It's like, actually, there's people there to help. Yeah. And this funding could be used by someone like me I know the profile that I have locally. And it'd be wrong of me not to try and do that.
Great to have you. Pleasure, mate.
Awesome.
Thanks
for that.
Top man.